So today we're going to focus on two of the vocab words, which are the complementary angles and supplementary angles. So hopefully you remember from the cut and paste that complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. So given that piece of information, or given the definition, would the following be true or false? 30 degrees and 60 degrees are complementary. That would be true because 30 degrees plus 60 degrees does equal 90. So that would make this a true statement. Then I ask, what angle would be complementary to 25 degrees? So 25 plus what would give us 90? There's a couple ways to think about that. 25 plus what equals 90, or maybe more simply, you just realize that you could take 90 minus 25 to get the answer. Either way, it would be 65 degrees because 65 plus 25 is 90. All right. Going over here, we're going to name each pair of complementary angles. So we have to match up the two that add up to 90 degrees. So let's start with this one. If one angle is 66, I'm looking for one that would add up to 90. That would be 24 degrees, which is right here. So one pair of complementary angles would be angle ABC and angle DEF. And that's just notation for an angle because it's labeled ABC. We can write it as a little angle sign, ABC. Let's look at this one next. GHI is 48 degrees. So the angle that would get it to 90 would be 42, because 48 plus 42 does add up to 90. So angle GHI and angle MNO. All right, so that would make the last two complementary as well. But just to be sure, does 54 plus 36 add up to 90? Well, yes it does. So we know that those are also complementary. Angle JKL and angle PQR. All right. Next we're going to find the complement of each angle. And as I showed up here, you could either just use subtraction or you could set up an equation that would then result in you using subtraction. But just to keep it simple, I'm going to use the subtraction method. So to find the complement of all of these, we're just going to have to subtract them from 90. So to find the complement of 15, just subtract 15 from 90, and that would be 75 degrees. And you can always use your calculator, but some of these are fairly simple. Maybe not this one so much. 90 minus 25.8 would get you your answer here. I'm going to get a calculator. So 64.2 degrees would be the complement of 25.8, again because they add up to 90. And the complement of 88, this one's definitely the simplest, would just be 2 degrees. Okay, because 88 plus 2 gets you to 90. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the following pairs of angles and determine if they are complementary. So we're going to determine if they add up to 90. So Do 16 and 74 add up to 90? Oops. I believe they do. So since they add up to 90, then you would say yes, these are complementary. How about 32 and 67? Do these add up to 90? Nope, they add up to 99. So no, those are not. And lastly, 96 and 84, do those add up to 90? Well, right away, one of them is already greater than 90, so right away that's a no. These actually add up to 180. So these are not complementary, but they are supplementary. When you add up to 180 degrees, that makes them supplementary, and that's what we're going to look at on the other page. So as I was saying, supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees. So then would that make the next statement true or false? 30 and 150 are supplementary. Well, 30 and 150 do add up to 180, so that would be true. And what angle would be supplementary to 80? So what would I need to add to it to get to 180? Hopefully that's pretty simple. It would be 100 degrees. And just like on the other side, you could do 80 plus x equals 100, or more simply using subtraction, or equals 180, I'm sorry. 80 plus another angle that we don't know yet should add up to 180. Or more simply, you could just use subtraction. 180 minus 80 could get you to the answer as well. Either one works. Like I said, I just prefer the basic subtraction. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did down here to find the supplement of each of these angles. Again, like I said, I'm going to use subtraction. So we just need to take 180 minus each of these. So to find the supplement of 90, we take 180 minus 90 and get 90 degrees. You can kind of picture 180 degrees is a straight line. If one of them is 90 degrees, then the supplement would be the other 90 degrees. I don't know if that visual makes sense, but I tried. Next is 125.8. Again, even with decimals, we're just going to subtract it from 180. Again, I'm going to use my calculator. 180 minus 125.8 is 52.4 degrees. I am backwards there. All right, and then lastly, 18. To figure out the supplement, I would want to subtract it from 180, which would be 162. No, 152. So 152 degrees would be the supplement of 18. Because again, when you add those together, you get 180. No, I was right to begin with. It was 162. I obviously can't do math in my head, but I'm your math teacher. Okay. Lastly, just like with complementary, we're going to determine whether each set of angles are supplementary. So we're going to add them together. If they add up to 180, then they would be supplementary. If they don't, then they would not be. So if I add 16 and 74, do those add up to 180? You get 0. No, those add up to 90. Those are complementary, not supplementary. 122 and 68. those add up to 190 degrees. So this would be another no, they are not supplementary. And then lastly, 96 and 84. Those do add up to 180, so they are supplementary. All right. So then next, I'm asking you to construct freehand a set of complementary angles and a set of supplementary angles. So I'm going to have you hit pause, try this on your own, and then I'll give you a little hint here in a second. So in order to construct complementary and supplementary freehand, it's kind of hard to do it if they're completely separate angles. But if you make them adjacent, if you start with a 90-degree angle and then split it up, then that makes it pretty easy. I would estimate this to be maybe 30 degrees and this to be maybe 60 degrees. I have no idea if that's accurate, but I at least know that they fit together to almost make a 90-degree or a right angle. Same with supplementary. They add up to 180 degrees, which is a straight line. So if I just take that straight line and split it into two angles, then I know that they're closer to being supplementary. I'd say this is maybe 50 degrees, and this maybe looks like 130 degrees. Again, you don't have to draw them adjacent or connected like this. You can draw them separately. I just think it's easier to get a better estimate there. And then the last thing that I want you to do is try and think of some memorization tips for how we can remember that complementary goes with 90 and supplementary goes with 180. Anything that you can come up with, even if it seems silly, write it below and we'll share these either later today or tomorrow. Sound good? See you later.